Setting up a new bedroom studio can be intimidating, especially when speakers are involved. If you already have a monitor set up in your room, but your mixes don't sound the same outside of your space, there's a good chance your monitoring setup is the problem. Now today, I'm going to show you how to properly set up studio monitors in a bedroom studio just like this, using a pair of 5-inch studio monitors and a 10-inch subwoofer. But stick to the end to find out how a setup like this can completely change how your mixes translate. Now, special thanks to Guitar Center for sending me the JBL set in this video in exchange for my honest review. You can support my channel by using the kickback links below. It also helps Guitar Center know to keep sending me more gear to review for you all. Now, the monitors I'll be using in this video are the JBL 305P Mark IIs and the JBL LSR310S powered sub. But the information will translate to other systems or monitors as well. If you don't have a treated room or you're on a tight budget, a good pair of studio headphones may honestly be the better choice, as they factor out the room quality entirely. But once you're ready to step into speakers, this is how you actually do it right. One of the biggest misconceptions I hear beginner producers make is that the bigger the speakers, the better or more valuable they are, mostly because they're priced more expensive. But that's not true, especially in a bedroom. In smaller rooms, low frequencies build up really fast, and larger monitors can actually make your mixes much less accurate. That's why 5-inch monitors are kind of the sweet spot for small bedrooms. They give you clarity without overwhelming your room with low-end mud. So don't think of smaller monitors as less professional just because they're cheaper than their larger counterparts. They're actually the correct tool for this environment. Now let's go ahead and talk about monitor placement. I'm using clamp-on monitor stands attached to my desk. Now I like these because they save space. They get the speakers off the desk and they let me position everything at ear level. But there is a bit of a downside. They do transfer vibration through the desk a little bit, which can affect what you're hearing. Floor stands are more isolated and accurate, and you have a little more flexibility, but they do take up more space, which, if you're in a bedroom like I am right now, you don't have much space to play around with. Now here's where things get interesting. Adding a subwoofer, especially with those smaller 5-inch monitors, can fill in the low end that your speakers physically can't reproduce. For example, the JBL 305P Mark II is a 5-inch woven Kevlar woofer and a 1-inch soft dome tweeter. The rigid, lightweight Kevlar woofer produces tight bass response down to 43 Hz. Now the soft dome tweeter delivers crisp, extended highs up to 24 kHz. But pair those mains with the JBL LSR310S 10-inch powered studio subwoofer, and now your system smoothly reaches down to an earth-shaking 27 Hz. This setup gives you better kick and bass decisions, more accurate low end altogether, and less guesswork. And ironically, a properly set up sub can actually make your room feel more controlled, not less. Now, one quick note about subwoofer placement. A lot of people think your sub has to be perfectly centered in the room, like right under your desk where your feet are, but it really doesn't. Low frequencies are essentially omnidirectional, which means you don't localize where they're coming from the same way you do with your main speakers. So putting your sub off to one side or the other, even in a corner near your mixing position, is actually totally fine. And I recommend and always like to run my sub just off to the right of my desk in that corner. In fact, corner placement can actually increase the efficiency of your subwoofer because the walls reinforce the low end. Now, there is a trade-off. Corners can exaggerate certain frequencies, so do be careful. You'll want to dial in your crossover and level with precision and make sure you're not overhyping anything. But in a small bedroom setup, having the sub close to your listening position, even off to the one side, can give you more consistent results than trying to force it into a perfect symmetrical spot. So how do we wire everything up together anyway? Your audio interface outputs a left and a right. Those are actually going to go into the subwoofer. Then the subwoofer outputs a left and a right, and those will split off into your monitors. So the sub essentially sits between your interface and your speakers. Now this matters because if you didn't do it this way, the sub would not be able to handle the crossover. And when it's handling the crossover, it's actually only sending the correct frequencies to your monitors that your monitors need, which keep everything balanced. That way you're not duplicating certain frequencies in your mains and your sub. Now, as far as cables, you'll typically use balanced TRS or XLR cables or some combination of both. Again, you'll want 2 cables coming from your audio interface going into your sub, usually a TRS to an XLR, and then 2 from your sub to your monitors, likely XLR to XLR. Simple, clean signal flow. Now your audio interface makes a difference too. Something like a Focusrite Scarlett, I have a 3rd Gen 8i6, will get the job done for most people. But if you decide to step up to something a little more premium like the Universal Audio Apollo Solo, you're now going to get better converters, better monitoring quality, and just overall more accuracy. Now, will it magically fix your mixes? Of course not. But it does improve what you're hearing, which again will help you make better mixing decisions. Now, this topic is a little bit beyond what I'd expect in a beginner home studio or bedroom studio setup. But one thing I do recommend if you can shell out for it, especially if you're using a subwoofer, is a dedicated monitor controller. Now, since our sub doesn't support compatibility for a foot switch, you can't instantly toggle it on and off. A monitor controller would allow you to do that and quickly check your mix with and without the sub, which allows you to control volume more precisely and switch between different speaker setups as well. And this is something a lot of people overlook. You should always check your mix on multiple systems. Even if it's dirt cheap speakers, headphones, your car, an array of Bluetooth speakers, it doesn't matter. Having a second set of speakers, even budget ones, helps you understand how your mix translates to the real world. You can't control how people listen to your music or what devices they listen to it on, but it doesn't matter how good your mix sounds in your room if you're not making smart mixing decisions that will translate to your listeners. Now here's a few other quick tips that will help make a big difference in your end result. When you set up your speakers, you want to form an equilateral triangle between you and your speakers. Keep your tweeters at about ear level, or you could put your ears in level with the midpoint between the tweeters and the woofers. In our case, the JBL logo is actually a good height indicator of where we'd want our ears to be. Now I will say you do want to pull those speakers away from the wall if at all possible, and use some acoustic treatment or panels if you can. At the end of the day, it's not about having the biggest or the most expensive setup, especially not about having the biggest speakers. But it is about having a system you understand and know how to wield to get good results. And a setup like this, 5-inch monitors with a properly integrated sub, is one of the best ways to get accurate mixes in a bedroom. It's kind of a superpower. Now, if you want to check out this exact setup, I've linked everything down below through Guitar Center. And if you want more content on mixing, production, studio setups, Ableton Live, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.